Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Unfiltered Grapevine. This is your host, A.
And I am Jay. Fade out.
Yay! So, before the episode, we were discussing a topic, and I showed you a clip featuring Jay Shetty. And we thought it would be a very good topic for this particular episode.
Yes, I found it to be quite enlightening.
Yeah.
And insightful. And actually relatable.
I agree. So I guess the question was proposed. I don't know the specifics, but the verbatim, but basically it was, how do you nurture a relationship for it to thrive, and can it thrive long distance?
Yes.
Was what our question came out of it for
correct.
Listening to it.
And I'm going to kind of paraphrase how the video started. Mm-hmm. And it basically asks, what is the difference between I like you and I love you? Mm-hmm. And in his description, he makes the comment of the Buddha that says, when you like a flower, mm-hmm. you usually go up and you pluck it mm-hmm. and you admire it. Mm-hmm. But if you love the flower, mm-hmm. you're constantly watering it and letting it thrive and letting it grow.
Correct.
So because of that, mm-hmm. it led to the question that you just made. It's,
yes.
How do you nurture that in an actual personal relationship?
Yeah.
And I think the key of that in many elements is really communication. Mm-hmm. That physical attraction, physical intimacy can only take you so far. Mm-hmm. And I believe that in a relationship, you need to constantly be in a flow of growth.
Yes.
And it's love is a commitment. Mm-hmm. It's through hard times, good times. It's not just all fun and games. There's going to be rough patches.
Sure.
And it's that commitment. But in order to overcome those obstacles, mm-hmm. you need to be able to communicate honestly mm-hmm. and not just hear your partner, but listen to your partner mm-hmm. to comprehend what is next. So
is that what communication means to you?
Communication to me is not just hearing the partner what they're saying. It is actually listening, comprehending, mm-hmm. seeing what their POV is, their point of view. Mm-hmm. Because you may not see it in the same way. It's personal bias. It's just whatever is in the element.
So listening to you is more about understanding. Listening to the depth of it, what they mean by what they are saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I think there many times that's where misunderstandings can darken the mm-hmm. moment and cause the arguments and all that in possibilities.
Yeah.
I am not a psychologist. I'm far from a relationship expert because Lord knows I've had my share of.
We leave that to Dr. Ruth.
Yeah, and I pushed the element sometimes maybe to creepy levels. I don't know. I don't know, but it just. I think right now, and with my relationship right now, she and I are in a constant flow of communication. Mm-hmm. We've actually hit some rough patches in that communication because sometimes it becomes repetitive in the daily conversation. But that's what happens when you're talking literally almost every day. Mm-hmm. Things start getting a little stagnant, boringish.
Sure.
She joked with me the other day that it was a Groundhog Day because mm-hmm. it was like repetitive.
So then how do you get out of that? To nurture the relationship.
We try to find new ways to interact, new ways to communicate with each other. Mm-hmm. Recently, we started giving each other riddles mm-hmm. just to brain tease each other. It brings out laughter. It brings out giggles because of the stupid answers we respond back.
Yeah.
So it could be something that simple to just, reignite that spark.
Sure.
it's a long distance relationship, so we don't have that physical intimacy that could, butter the surface a little bit.
Yeah.
Everything we have to do is that mental communication with each other to keep the stimulation, to keep the fire going.
And to Jay Shetty's point in this particular TikTok video, it had, or what was it that he said? He said that the physical relationship is the, what's the word that he said? I don't remember. It's the byproduct is actually what he said. The physical relationship is the byproduct of the watering and nurturing of the relationship because it comes naturally and you don't have to force it or plan it out or whatever.
Right.
Which is what a lot of like books try to tell you, oh, you got to plan it out. You have a life, you have this. And I never bought into that because I don't believe that that's true. I think if there is depth, then there's connection. And if there's connection, you want to be physically, mentally, emotionally connected. Period. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and in my experience as well, I've had intimate moments, but it felt nothing. It was just an intimate moment.
Yeah. So I want to understand what is, because intimate to me, I think is different than intimate for you. What do you mean by intimate? Are you talking about physical?
Physical, yeah. Complete physical connection.
Okay, that to me, what do you mean by complete physical connection?
Okay. I mean, there's degrees of intimacy.
Sure.
So.
What is there?
Yes, because you can be intimate with each other with just holding each other, touching each other, without having the full interactive physical sexual element.
See, being physical does not necessarily connect with being intimate.
Okay.
I think to me, intimate is you are at a deep level. So to me, an intimate moment can just be us being side by side and having this energy with us, communicating without actually speaking words. That to me is intimate. And I feel that intimacy isn't segregated to anything. It's either there or it isn't.
Totally understandable. And
right?
And I agree to it as a percentage of it.
Okay.
Just for the fact that,
tell me more.
In my thing is, and it's also because of my experience, I can be physically intimate with a person, which is the full sexual extension of two people being together.
Okay.
But they meant nothing.
That to me isn't intimate.
But I can have...
that to me is just physical.
Right. And it's just that physical connection.
Okay.
I can have a moment where I'm just sitting next to each other, holding hands, and watching a movie, and be a totally simple, intimate moment.
Okay.
And again, that's a non-physical element. It's just the bonding of two people.
Okay.
It's spiritual, it's comforting, it's emotional, and all that. I've never had that together.
Okay.
So
I understand what you're saying. Because I understand you, but
there's
to me that's
physical intimacy, and then there's like that spiritual intimacy.
I'm not getting that, man. I'm sorry.
You really think just the 1 degree is the full intimacy?
Whoa, no, that's not what I said.
No, I'm just
no. So no. I think intimacy is its complete separate animal. I think you can be physical with a person and have your jollies without saying words, right? You can, be vigorous without having intimacy, right? I think you can be close with a person, let's say friends or whatever, without intimacy being included. I think you can have depth without intimacy. I think intimacy is just a completely different animal altogether. Intimacy to me is tied into a loving relationship. And when I mean loving relationship, I'm not talking about a friendship loving relationship. I'm not talking about family loving relationship. I'm talking about an actual true relationship where you're with a partner.
Yes.
And you are physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually connected. And that to me means that regardless of what it is you're doing, intimate moments arrive because of that. For instance, let's say that, and to me, an intimate moment, let's say I'm separated from somebody. They write me a letter and it's intimate. And they write something loving and caring. They understand me at a level that no one else understands me at because they know details about me that other people will not know. I mean, we've been friends for 25 years and you don't know every single thing about me, right?
Yeah,
and vice versa, because there are certain things that you don't share with friends because then you cross a line. So intimate to me is deeply personal, deeply emotional, deeply spiritual. So when somebody that I know, that I love, writes me, regardless of distance, I'm connected to that. I'm emotionally invested. I'm emotionally all of it.
Okay.
There. And again, I don't feel like it has to do with being physical or whatever. We can have an intimate moment cooking together.
Correct.
You know, we can have an intimate glance at one another when two people are really in tune with one another and you can communicate without words. That's what I mean by intimate.
Okay.
That's just my take.
Yeah.
That obviously might not resonate with a lot of other people, but for me, that's why I wanted to understand what you were meaning.
Yeah.
Because what I mean and what you mean might not be the same. So I wanted to get clarification.
Right.
So that's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. And my only variation is that's the one level of intimacy, which I was explaining kind of on the left hand, which builds into then the physical intimacy, which is kind of the opposite. It's the same, but just an extension of, I would like to try to kind of explain. Because for me, intimacy is the connection between two people, straightforward. It's the energy, the spirituality, the emotional equalness that is shared by the two individuals.
And when you're saying two individuals, you mean friends, family, whatever. No, you're actually talking about a relationship.
I'm talking about true.
So I just wanted to get clarification there.
This is with a romantic partner.
Okay.
So having.
And when you say romantic partner, I want to additionally clarify for others and for myself also. Are you talking about somebody you're actually dating or somebody you are just sleeping with?
No, this is the full package.
Okay.
So, because just being physical doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
And that's where I think a lot of relationships nowadays kind of fail.
Why?
Again, I'm going to go again of being traditional because I'm old school. Parents raised me that way. I'm not going to be one to be going out on a date and pursuing somebody to be in bed with them within the first 2 dates.
Right.
And I think certain relationships nowadays, people think like, oh, for this to work, I got to sleep with the partner.
But don't you think that that's what marriages nowadays also feel like? That, oh, if I'm not sleeping with my husband once a week, twice a week, whatever that is, there's something wrong.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that becomes a factor in the relationship. also for the fact that because they jumped into it so quickly that it was like all the time. And then now when life is actually in the middle of it, it's not as frequent, obviously. So they feel like, oh, my partner doesn't love me or something like that. I mean, there's some psychology behind that.
For sure. But I'm wondering if true intimacy is there and you're constantly watering that relationship and you are doing things regardless of whether you have children or not. Don't you think the intimacy of lovemaking naturally follows? Because you are...
This is getting real deep.
I know, I was not expecting it to go that way. I'm so sorry. And this is why we're unfiltered.
Yeah, we're definitely unfiltered. We don't know what we're talking about either.
I mean, for sure. I've had many failed relationships, so what do I know? But I think it's because I have not seen eye to eye how I feel versus how they feel.
Well, I've been in many relationships with people that were not physical. It would appear that we were like long-term dating couples, but we never slept with each other.
Right. So, now, is that an intimate relationship in your eyes?
I'm not going to say it was a real intimate relationship. No.
Okay, you said real intimate.
Because
is it intimate though?
It was close to intimate because we did share a lot of stuff with each other.
Okay.
And there was a connection.
Okay.
But then it's more familiar.
Okay.
So it's almost like what we have, which is like brother and sister.
Yeah.
So then that sexuality part of it goes out the window.
Sure. So then, okay. So now I guess the question is, are we intimate? Because we have a brother-sister relationship and we have shared. In your opinion, to me, I say no. But what do you say?
There is a degree of intimacy in that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it's not a romantic intimacy, which again, in my premise of intimacy leads into the physical connection. It's the completion of a bond between two people.
Okay. So to me, what you are saying as intimate, I translate in my brain as depth. We have a deep connection because we have shared so much.
Okay.
We don't share intimacy, we share depth. That to me is the difference.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Okay. That's my point of view.
Yep. No.
Is that how you see it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just kind of using it I'm making intimacy in like 3 degrees.
Okay.
While you actually defined it more as depth.
Versus, okay.
Yeah.
Because to me, intimacy, the link is being romantic and physical. There's got to be all the realms in order for it to be true intimacy.
Yes. And I look at things at being in a relationship, 3 pillars.
Okay. What are the 3 pillars?
A spiritual connection, a physical connection, and now the third one, just skip.
Spiritual.
Physical. And it's not
emotional?
It's emotional, yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I was almost going to, but it's those 3 elements with the partner that I think makes for a solid foundation. Again, pillars. They hold up, they support. If one cracks, it can break the building.
So So when you're talking about a relationship and the 3 pillars of a relationship, are we talking about a counterpart or are we talking about friendship? Do these 3 pillars are both for friendship and for a relationship, or is your pillars different for friendship versus?
It's different.
Okay.
This description that I'm making is for a relationship between 2 partners.
Okay.
Because and the main reason of it is the physical part of it.
Gotcha.
Because I feel that two people should be, let's go back again with intimate with one another. To be open with each other in their rawest animal instinct form, that, intended for two people to be with.
Yeah.
So that is an element there.
Okay.
But it cannot be the main thing of it all either.
Correct.
That's why I say you have to have that spiritual and emotional connection too. And once those things are combined together, I think it creates a strong foundation for a lasting relationship. That's why I feel like some people can meet each other in 2 weeks and get married and be together for 30, 40 years because they get that foundation in there.
So where does intellect come into this play? Because for me, I need the fourth pillar. I need intellect. I need you to stimulate me in all of these 4 factors.
Intellect goes into the emotions.
Does it?
Yes.
How?
Stimulates.
I think emotion and intelligence are 2 totally different things.
No, they are 2 different things, but at least for me, knowing that I'm talking to somebody that's smart and inspiring and is well versed and all that gives me more of an emotional connection to them. So it raises my emotions towards them.
Okay. That's not how I see it, but I understand what you're saying. Yes.
So for me, it's
that's why. Okay,
yeah,
I get it.
That's why it's linked into that.
Okay. Now, for me,
you see it as a 4-leg.
I do. I see it as a 4th leg because to me, I can connect to somebody emotionally because I'm empathetic and I can talk to people on an emotional level. But if I'm missing the intellectual level and we don't connect in that, I'm missing something.
Yeah. Well, see, in my status is that if I don't have that, I'm not emotionally involved in it anymore. So.
Well, no. I need all 4.
But in as I said, in my thing as the emotions, just the 3 pillars, not having that intellectual communication with somebody, I don't get emotionally involved anymore with that person because that intellectual level is kind of faded. So the emotions is gone. Do you see where that? So I can be, if I can get stimulated by our conversation, I'm emotionally involved into the conversation. I'm stimulated to be more intellectual into that conversation.
I can't.
Well,
that's for you, for sure.
For me, and that's why I see it as 3. But I see how you can relate it as a 4th element.
Yeah, because I can speak with somebody and have an intellectual conversation, but not be emotionally involved in that conversation. And then I can also have an emotional conversation with somebody, but not be intellectually stimulated. So for me, those 2 are 100% separate. Now, if they blend together, because the whole purpose of a relationship is for all 3 or all 4 rather.
For you, it's
for me, all 4 need to blend in order for it to be someone that I'm like, right?
Right.
Needless to say, I have had relationships where one of the pillars were missing. Actually, every single one of my relationships, something was missing. One of the pillars was missing, except for one. And to me, that was the one relationship that I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously not. But it's still the one relationship in my mind that I'm like, if I have another one, it's going to be similar to this.
Yeah.
Anything else is going to fall short. But everything else, if there isn't the 4 things wrapped around, then, and again, they all have to blend.
Right.
But I understand. I can see where you're coming from. Do you think most men are that way?
No,
just you.
No, I'm going to say that's more of a me thing.
Okay.
From my own research and studying and just reading up on things. That's where I came to interpret things.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to say this is the law of the land and all that.
No, for sure.
But I can see where...
That's what makes you tick, per se.
It makes me tick, but, it's a foundation element for what's to go. Mm-hmm. So in either instance, picture it as a table. Okay. 4 legs or a triangle, 3-legged table that's supporting that base, that tabletop.
Sure.
That everything can build on top of. And I've made the comment with my girlfriend that we have now created a foundation. Mm-hmm. We're still slightly off on the one pillar because we're not close physically because of the distance, but we have had conversations about it that stimulate and bring that up. So it's that the desire is there.
Sure.
So it's like it's almost fully on the ground.
So then, in your opinion, long distance relationships can thrive?
I think it can thrive.
I think so too. We're on the same page on this one, for sure.
I believe they can thrive.
Yeah.
Because it's more than the physical. It is the intellectual, emotional, spiritual levels of it, because you're having in-depth conversation and it could be the most minute little thing, but you are open with each other.
Yeah.
And as long as you can maintain that, I think is a strong foundation.
Yeah.
So
then how do you water your long distance relationship? Because you say have conversations, communicate, but what do you do to stimulate those things?
Well, as implied earlier in at the start of the show, when our conversations get stagnant or repetitive, and she joked that it's kind of Groundhog Day-ish because it's kind of been like the same conversation like maybe a few days ago. So
what do you do?
We start to decide on another way to stimulate.
Okay.
And to ignite that conversation. Because we end up talking with each other for 3-4 hours many times.
Daily?
Not daily. Usually daily, it's like maybe an hour and a half.
See, I can't do that.
But when it comes to the weekend, we can be online with each other in a video chat for 4 hours.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, and that's where it is. It can't be hard, but that's because we're not in the same place.
Yeah.
So we're trying to take in as much time together. Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think that time is more important than the quality? Because I can't do what you're doing.
It's not because of the time and the quality. It's just embracing the opportunity. Mm-hmm. Because it's not like I can come home to her after a busy day at work and we can spend the next several hours in home together, cooking together, eating dinner together.
But just because you're together doesn't necessarily mean that it's getting deeper. But
true to a degree, but you can be in that conversation, throughout the day. It's not like I can text her in the middle of the day from work to say, hey, how are you doing? Or something like that. Like you would think a normal relationship would flow between any couple. Mm-hmm. We have a strict window of opportunity to talk with each other. Mm-hmm. And we want to make the best of it.
Okay.
Of being together.
Okay.
So if it's 1 hour, if we can manage 4 hours, we're going to take advantage of it, because out of the full day, we don't have other opportunities.
Okay. I can see that. That does not float my boat.
Yeah.
Personally.
So,
but I understand you.
But as I said, that can get stagnant because we are trying to talk to each other every day.
Yeah.
So we need to stimulate it somehow.
Yeah.
So I have purchased cards.
I remember you told me about the games. Yeah, so we mentioned those on the...
Yes. So, and this could be probably related in a chapter 2 of the episode, because we are going to probably have to start wrapping this up. But I have purchased card games with questions in there to build up closeness with a partner. Mm-hmm. And the game is actually meant for friendships and for romantic partners. But it's nice. It's intellectual questions, but also to create an emotional response and build up that emotional, spiritual connection with the partner. Those help.
Okay.
Those help. We've done kind of a variation of true or false, truth or dare over the conversation. Again, it's a way to share things with each other intimately that no other person has known, and decipher things.
All right, so that I'm going to ask one last question, and then we'll wrap this up, right? Okay. And this will be the wrap up right now.
Okay.
All right. So, do you think, like I do, because I for sure think this, that having a conversation every so often and building that intimacy within the depths, because I feel like the everyday is going to come naturally, eventually anyways. But having that expectancy of, oh, I get to talk, on this specific day instead of the everyday, I'm like, oh, I got to do this because this is on a time schedule. I got to do this. Do you feel that, how do you feel? I should really pose the question this way. How do you feel about I got to do this versus, I get to do this at this specific time because that's our special time?
Well,
because for me, it's the latter. I don't mind not having a conversation on a daily basis.
Well, for us, it is the latter.
Okay.
We look forward to being able to see each other.
On the weekends, you mean?
Well, on the weekends for the long conversations, for the extended conversation. We look forward to that. And it says, okay, yeah, we're going to do it. We'll kind of get the time window because of the time differences.
Sure.
And we'll get it. And then we can spend good, long, quality time together.
Yeah.
And it's usually a video cam share, and it's all great.
Yeah.
But we still have that kind of during the week as well.
Sure.
Because it's as much as me like coming home to her being at home.
Yeah.
And being welcomed, hugged, kissed, or whatever, which I look forward to when it actually comes when we're in the same roof together. But at the end of the day, after a hard day's work, it's nice to be able to get home and say, okay, I'm going to be able to get online and we're going to talk to each other for an hour, couple of hours during the week.
Okay.
After a long day's work.
Okay.
So it's just that it gives that little.
Do you know why? Because there's intimacy there.
Yes.
Because without that intimacy, it becomes monotonous, and you're like, oh God, I got to go home, and I got to do this, I got to do that.
Yeah, and we do look forward to, we're going to have the chat, at the end of the day. So yeah, so that's where that variance is.
All right. Well, I guess that's the wrap up, isn't it?
Yes, and I think we wrapped it up way too long today.
No, you're fine.
So thank you for listening to our intimate moments.
Not intimate in my mind.
No.
Deep,
insightful, oversharing. We appreciate you listening. Please support us as best you can. Send us emails. Comments.
Yeah, send us an email. Tell us what things you would like for us to talk about. We'll discuss it.
Click on the link.
We'll try to anyways.
To our website. There's a link there to send us an email. We're hopefully going to start a Patreon membership thing so we can get interactive with our listeners. And stay tuned for season 2.
Yeah. I don't know when we're wrapping up this particular season, but here shortly.
Yeah. We'll probably record through probably the spring, take a small break. And then, as mentioned in the previous episode, we'll start actually broadcasting with YouTube.
Yeah.
And
have video.
And you will actually see us.
Yeah. And you'll know our names.
So.
Dun, dun, dun.
So thank you very much. Once again, everybody have a good afternoon, day, night, wherever you are.
Have a great week. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to the Unfiltered Grapevine. please visit our website, unfilteredgrapevine.com, and become a Patreon member, or visit our merchandise shop and purchase one of our several products. Like and subscribe. We'll listen to you next time. Thanks again. Bye.